I think I just discovered Luffy's greatest power. It isn't Gear 5, it's not some kind of Toon Force, it's not Conqueror's coding, or anything like that. Luffy has been using this power since the very beginning of the story, and he is fully aware of its potential. Now, I know what you're thinking, so you know what, let me use a bit of future sight myself to see what you guys might say. Prince, there is no way Luffy has a power that can help him that is greater than Gear 5, or something like Toon Force. It's gotta be some kind of joke, right? Alright, let me make something perfectly clear. You, watching this video right now, are 100% right. And what I mean is that this power of Luffy's is indeed a joke, which is why it is so damn brilliant. Throughout the series, there's always been a running joke for one specific thing when it comes to Luffy. And this running joke has never wavered, no matter which arc it was. Well, to be fair, except for one, but we'll get to that soon enough. Luffy has always had this comedic ability to love food, and this is what I think is his greatest power. Yes, you heard me right. Loving food is Luffy's greatest power. And what's even crazier is that Oda knows that this is Luffy's greatest power because food has always been prevalent for Luffy to win. Now, if you're a fan of One Piece, you'll truly understand the same cycle Luffy goes through during every single arc. And during this video, I'll be going through every single major fight Luffy has and break down the most pivotal moments on why food was able to help him win. But for now, let's get straight to the simple process Oda uses. There's step 1, where Luffy encounters the main antagonist. He tries to fight him, and the antagonist shows a clear distinction between themselves and Luffy. Step 2, Luffy gets defeated by said villain and is left completely vulnerable, with nothing that could possibly come to his aid except for one thing and one thing only. And that's where we get to step 3, where Luffy demands for food, screaming it to the heavens, and usually the food that he wants is meat. This process has been rinsed and repeated by Oda as Luffy's way to recover from a big loss, and every single time it happens, you can't help but laugh, since in most near-death situations, a character would want help or any kind of medical aid, whereas Luffy just simply screams for food. But what if I told you that food is the ultimate cure for Luffy? Luffy's capacity to eat is such an amazing ability, and it's the reason why he never loses. And it's not like your regular MC. Throughout the history of anime, it's always been a known trope for MCs to always love food and their ability to eat a certain food extremely fast. But in the case of Luffy, I believe it's actually one of his greatest abilities. Jesus Christ, Prince, you keep saying it's amazing. Just explain it already. Alright, that's my bad. Let me explain how Luffy's capacity to eat is truly a superpower. by Law's crew, and at the first breath of air, he screams to the heavens for one specific thing. Bottom line is that pretty much Luffy knows when he's in a life or death situation, and he needs to recover as soon as possible. He needs food to eat, and as much food as possible. With the food he gets, he's not only able to satisfy his immense hunger, but he gets all the energy from the food he consumes, and digests it just as fast as he eats it, which enables him to get back to full health just as good as new. Now, remember how I said there's one arc that Luffy's eating isn't a joke? Well, let's talk about it. The Whole Cake Island arc. Now, in this arc, there are so many things that are related to food. I mean, for starters, 70% of the arc is about people either making food, eating food, exploring new kinds of food, fantasizing about food, or just flat out becoming food. Just a quick side tangent, but how in the world did Oda write all of these different devil fruits in this arc? There was no way that man was not hungry 24/7 during this point of the story. Anyways, getting back to Luffy's ultimate power of eating, there are 3 scenarios in which him eating in this arc was extremely important, and in fact, it's quite pivotal to the story as a whole. For starters, there's obviously Luffy eating Cracker's Biscuit Warriors, which enables him to get an entirely new form in Tank Man. But that's not even the most important fight where Luffy was eating. Let's move to Luffy versus Katakuri, which was obviously an S tier fight, but also a very controversial one. Some people think that Katakuri should have won, and some people think that Luffy won that fight fairly. In terms of what I think, I'd have to agree with the fact that Luffy won fairly because it was a fight between 2 honorable pirates, and both of them knew they were on equal footing at the end of the battle. But what I want to focus on is the middle of the fight, specifically when Katakuri thought it was over and started to eat a bunch of donuts. Now, if y'all have an elite memory, you can remember what actually happened right before, and that's Luffy getting buried under a mountain of mochi. This was actually a perfect situation for Luffy though, because he was just so horribly beaten by Katakuri, and what does Katakuri do? He gives him a mountain of food. So with swiftness, Luffy's able to eat out of the mochi mountain, and by doing so, he does 2 things. 1, he's able to escape and not die from suffocation, and 2, he's able to gain some energy from the mochi, which he digests right before trying to fight Katakuri again. Everyone says that for Luffy versus Katakuri, the turning point was Luffy trying to remember Rayleigh's advice on observation haki, which is true, but to me, without this moment of Luffy regaining his strength by eating the mochi, he truly would have lost the fight. Now, let's get to the last moment that I wanted to talk about when it comes to Whole Cake Island and food for Luffy, and it's the most heartbreaking one. It's all the moments between Luffy and Sanji. Obviously, as a very important friend and crew member, Luffy saw Sanji as a vital piece of his crew, and he quite literally said that without Sanji, he can't become king of the pirates. And honestly, Luffy's right. Luffy has gotten accustomed to Sanji's food so much that he really prefers Sanji, to the point where Luffy declares he won't eat a single morsel of food unless it's from Sanji, which is crazy because Luffy is saying this on an island where everything is food, even the rain that's dropping from the damn sky. What's even crazier to me is when Luffy battled an entire army, and for one of the first times in the series, he fought that entire battle without a speck of food afterwards. And look what happened to him. He was finished. This is why Luffy needs Sanji yet again. He needs the food cooked by his chef, mainly because Luffy is stubborn and won't eat from any others, but it's still important that he has food, because although Luffy's whole gimmick of eating food quickly was used as comedy throughout most of the series, Luffy's greatest power is his ability to eat food at an incredible rate, and use that food to resupply himself with energy. And funnily enough, without this power to regenerate his energy from the food he eats, Luffy wouldn't be able to become king of the pirates.